What is up, you gorgeous, fabulous creatures? Welcome to a brand new week of the Easter. What is up, you gorgeous, fabulous creatures? Welcome to a brand new week of the Losing It podcast. We are fresh off the tail of the Easter weekend. And if you are feeling like, much like most of us, if you're feeling like Easter threw a grenade into your weight loss progress, I promise you, babe, you are not alone. So what if I told you that the real problem over the weekend wasn't chocolate? It wasn't even the binges that you had. It's what's going on underneath it. I'm going to talk to you today about why it feels so hard to get back on track after any sort of holiday, and why the people who do get results are the ones that are willing to walk straight through that discomfort, like those hot coals. What was it that Tony Robbins used to make people walk over? You would not find me walking on hot coals, but I can tell you the real changes that you need to make, they're not always cute, and it's not always motivating. It's not going to look like a Pinterest quote, but it is going to be you versus the chocolate bunny, and it's your time to win. You are not addicted to chocolate. You're not. What you're addicted to is the pleasure that you currently think that you're giving yourself, and possibly permission. So this is what's really interesting about these particular times of year that we give ourselves permission to eat. Christmas, Easter, Hanukkah. Most emotional eaters don't realize that it's not the food itself, or in this case, the chocolate that they're hooked on. It's the psychological permission that you give yourself at those times of year. It's like the holiday becomes a kind of socially acceptable excuse to stop trying. I mean, come on, everyone's indulging. It's just a few days. I'll get back to it on Monday. But what you're really chasing in those moments is the sort of temporary relief of not having to, quote unquote, be good all the time. Well, I was so good today with my food. Oh, I was really bad today with my food. This is a bullshit way of thinking that we really need to stop. But if you are finding that giving yourself that permission to eat feels like a break from self-control, then that can become really super dangerous in the long term, because you are almost like flipping a light switch on and off, on and off. Now I'm doing good, and now I'm practicing looking after myself, and now I'm not. Now I'm not giving a shit. And all that's going to do is secretly reinforce the idea that food, junk food especially, equals freedom, and you looking after yourself or just making smart, savvy food choices is pressure. That is some bullshit. That's like we always think, oh, I need to eat some vegetables. I should eat some salad. Well, no, you don't have to. But what you could do is just start giving yourself consistent, conscious freedom with your food so that you're not totally reliant on outside permission from bullshit made up holidays to be able to let go and feel relaxed around food. Half the time, you don't even want the food you're eating. You just want relief from having that pressure to perform. I got to be good. I got to make sure I get all my steps in. Got to make the right food choices. But what you really want is permission to let go. And that is something you can give yourself any time of the day, because letting go doesn't mean eating all the food in the universe. Letting go means you give yourself permission to make choices that you actually feel good about. Follow my eating codes. We eat when we're hungry. We don't eat when we're not. When we do eat, we stop eating at 80%. This is just fucking common sense. The danger of you giving your power away to a calendar is that, like I said, you're going to reinforce the narrative that you have to eat a certain way at a certain time. And you really don't. I mean, you really don't. You can have chocolate bunnies any time of the year. I know you can, because I did the research, and you can buy them online when it's not Easter. So what you want to do is create an internal permission slip. You want balance all year round. You don't need this on-off light switch situation. That is some serious bullshit. The second way you're going to start powering forward now that Easter is over is to recognize that this post-Easter hangover isn't guilt. This is complete and total identity confusion. Now, bear with me here. After a binge or any off-track weekend, it's what it feels like, most of us as females, we feel really guilty. But what's actually happening is underneath, we have a sense of identity dissonance. Because before Easter, you were becoming this strong, empowered version of yourself, and then boom, you revert back to an old version of yourself that, quite frankly, you were trying your hardest to escape. The discomfort isn't just physical, it's emotional fucking whiplash from breaking your own trust with the version of you that you were trying to become. You were promising yourself that you were going to do better, and you were making better choices until this Easter weekend popped up. And then, like I said, emotional whiplash. Okay, well, I'm not going to be that version of me anymore. I'm going to go back and be the old shitty version of me that I actually was trying to escape. So when you are returning to your old eating patterns, very often over these Easter weekends or holiday weekends, it can feel like a total betrayal, not just of your diet, but to your future self. So you want to reconnect really as quickly as possible with that new identity, not just the weight goal. It's not just about getting back onto the bathroom scales and setting new numbers and new goals. It's about getting your head back in the game with who you want to be, how you want to be living as that person, and now what would it take to make that happen? Use that identity gap as fuel, not shame, to recommit to the goals that you had. You're not stinging from the overeating that you did this weekend. You're stinging from the identity clash. You were becoming this incredible new version of you, and the binge that happened over the weekend reminded you of the old one. And that's what hurts. So that feeling, you can now use that to fuel either sabotage, and you can keep eating all week, or you can use it to fuel self-compassion. Oh, I see why I did that now. I fucking got confused. It really isn't that big a deal. And just do a very quick mental reset by asking yourself, okay, what would my future self do next? This is the biggest thing that I teach. Eating code number 5 is to act like the person you want to become. So if you haven't got my 5 eating codes yet, you can get them all inside of my free course. Hit the link in the show notes or head on over to kyliepax.com/free course. I break them down over 3 short videos. There is 5 eating codes. And the 5th one is to act like the person you want to become. That means every day we get up, we ask ourselves, what store am I going to be shopping in the shopping mall of my mind today? There's a whole mall up there. And are we shopping in the badass and bougie store, or am I going to be shopping in the I'm a pathetic loser store? I might as well keep eating. Whichever store you shop in is going to dictate who you will be and how you will act that day. Thirdly and lastly, the last and final thing that is going to decide whether you jump straight back onto your feeling incredible and making progress train this week, or whether you stay in the mode of, which I've done every single year, in the mode of, well, I did eat all day on Monday, so I might as well just finish off the week and I'll start again clean next Monday. But this is how it would end for me. I would then look at the calendar and go, well, now it's also really nearly the end of April, so I might as well just start again on the 1st of May. So I would eat my way through it the entire half month of April. Like, it was just ridiculous. So if you're waiting to feel ready, I'll just see you here this time next year, and you'll probably be another 10 pounds heavier. It is time for you to start building resilience. Too many of you are waiting until the urge passes, or until the motivation comes back, or you feel stronger before you just fucking decide to get on track. But recovering or moving forward or getting over emotional eating is never going to be about feeling ready. It's about learning to act even when you feel triggered, weak, tired. That's resilience. That's the actual work that we have to do. Too many of us as emotional eaters often confuse emotional readiness with our ability to perform. And that is what's keeping you stuck. You don't need to feel ready. You are capable of performing, saying no to food, making choices in your best interest, saying no to food when you're not hungry, making great choices when you are hungry, stopping at eating at 80% full when you do start eating. You can do that whether you feel ready or not. That's not hard, because that is being controlled by your prefrontal cortex, not your habit brain. So you have full control and autonomy over your appendages and your decisions, whether you're going to put food in your mouth or not, and how long you're going to chew, and when you're going to stop chewing, and when you're going to stop eating at 80%. The skill of doing the hard thing, like putting the chocolate bunny down, even when every single cell in your body is screaming just one more, is something that you can build over time. All you have to do is start reframing that discomfort, because it will be uncomfortable, as a sign that you are no longer abandoning yourself. Sitting around waiting to feel motivated is exactly what keeps you stuck year after year at this time of year. Easter after Easter at this time of year. But emotional eating, recovery, moving past it, getting stronger, it's not about the motivation. It's the courage that you choose to step into in that moment. And when you do say no to yourself, Start looking at that as an act of kindness, not deprivation. Well, I don't want to deprive myself. You know what you're actually fucking depriving yourself of in that moment? When you say no to the food, you're not depriving yourself of the food. You are depriving yourself of feeling like shit tomorrow, being heavier on the scales tomorrow, missing out on the life that you want tomorrow. That's what you're depriving yourself. So you're giving yourself a gift. Practice micro moments of strength. These are the small wins that start to rebuild your trust really fast after a weekend of off-plan eating. So if you think that today's episode hit home and you feel like you're ready to stop waiting for motivation to start hitting you over the head and you want to start building some real actual resilience, I want you to take one small brave action today. And maybe that looks like throwing out the last Easter chocolate. I mean, that would break my heart. I'd probably rather give it to the neighbor than throw it in the bin. But you could do that. You could go for a walk instead of binging. Binge on Netflix tonight. Whatever it is to prove to yourself that you can do the difficult things, even when you don't feel like it. Even when it's not singing sunshine and rainbows all around you and pixies aren't dancing around your shoulders. And if you want that deeper support, join us inside of the Bombshell Blueprint. That's where we're doing this work together every single day. So babes, I'm going to leave you today with a journal prompt. This is something that I'm quite big on because I think that journaling is the quickest, fastest way to unearth your own bullshit so that you can see it for what it is, start poking holes in it and move the fuck on. So you can journal it by asking yourself, where am I still waiting to feel ready before I take action? And how would my future self act in this situation? Or you can go even deeper by asking yourself, what would it look like today if I stopped needing permission to relax or indulge and started trusting myself to make empowered choices at all times? Honeys, as always, I'm sending you tremendous amounts of love. You know the drill. If you want to come join us inside of the Blueprint, just hit the link in the show notes or join us over at kyliepax.com/blueprint. I am sending you love. I cannot wait to see you again in the next episode. Until then, gorgeous ones, bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to shimmy your butt over to kyliepax.com and join me inside of the Bombshell Blueprint so you can stop emotional eating and start losing your weight now. You'll also find helpful notes and resources inside my past podcasts that will help you lose your weight without losing your sanity. I will see you next week.